In Johnson City, Tennessee for the Southern Conference opener between two preseason favorites, the Spartans of UNCG and the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State University. Our star watch for the Buccaneers, how about Tyrus Wade, the sophomore, who leads the team in scoring, all freshman team a year ago. And for the Spartans, the senior James May, who led the team in points and rebounding, one of only two to go over 1,500 in both categories. Our starting lineup, look at May, last time against ETSU, 35 points. And Wadood for East Tennessee State led the conference in rebounds a year ago.
Well, this is a game between two of the teams that were thought to be the two best teams in the Southern Conference North Division. And East Tennessee State, really probably, Jerry, the team that has the most inside power in the league. Fields at 6'8" and 270 is a monster inside, and he's going to be tough for Greensboro to handle.
And Gary Maxwell, our Southern Conference official, will toss it up, and we're underway here in Johnson City.
The point guard duties handling UNC Greensboro by Bristow right now. He has been a substitute. Ronnie Taylor is out for the year. He broke his leg, so you expect to see a lot of pressure from East Tennessee in this game.
Joseph's shot is rejected. And here go the Buccaneers. And Smith, the 5'9" guard, gets the first two. Fourteenth time these two teams have met. They split a year ago on each other's home turf. UNC Greensboro leads the series 7-6. McCaffrey an even 3-3. You see in this building last year, the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State won by 14.
Full court pressure the whole game. 94 feet on the part of East Tennessee. A good trap near the sideline. Greensboro maintains it, but this is what Ed DeChellis wants to do in this game. He wants the game to be fast-paced. He wants to create a lot of turnovers. UNC Greensboro without their point guard.
And again, trouble getting the ball up floor for the Spartans of UNC Greensboro. And Bob, in their last outing, in their 4 first possessions, they only got one shot. We're talking about Greensboro, and inside as Wadood will get two, and his foul going up. Take a look at Fran McCaffrey, 43-year-old head coach for the Spartans. In his 4th year, he is a disciple of Digger Phelps, having spent 11 years on the bench there with the Irish. And 7th-year head coach Ed DeChellis, a 45-year-old coach, 2 consecutive Southern Conference Coach of the Year awards for DeChellis.
Both of these guys come from big-time programs. DeChellis, former assistant at Penn State, and of course, as you mentioned, Fran McCaffrey at Notre Dame. Man-to-man defense on the part of both squads. Jay Joseph is a great outside shooter. Lawson has that assignment. He'll have to stay close off-ball screens.
May, the leading scorer and rebounder for 2.
Well, James May is a first-team All-Southern Conference player, and he is their main go-to guy. He and Joseph are going to have to carry the offensive load tonight.
And they dish it out for the 3. Nothing but net from Tyrus Wade, their leading scorer.
Well, Wade is one of those guys who's very emotional. He's very up and down, had 23 against University of Virginia this year, so he's capable of scoring on anyone.
True freshman Bristow dishes it off to Johnson, who misses the layup and follows his own shot.
East Tennessee likes to get the ball up quickly. Fields at 270 shooting a 3.
And the follow by Z, they call him, Zakid Wadood.
Well, you can see the pace of the game is in East Tennessee's favor right now. The Buccaneers successfully trapping the ball. Jay Joseph fortunate that he did not turn the ball over there.
You mentioned Ronnie Taylor, the starting point guard for the Spartans. A stress fracture in his last outing on New Year's Eve. They've gone to the freshman here handling the ball, Bristow. Ray Bristow, and so full court pressure coming on each possession from East Tennessee State. Rolling off the rim, rebound by Wadood, and Smith will bring it up in a hurry.
Somebody open the door and the wind blow that one?
And the freshman takes the jump shot. And they will get Jay Joseph for over the back on the attempted rebound.
Fast break situations right here. This young man, his first start, Ray Bristow, a freshman from from Charlotte, North Carolina, clanks this one off. Very good block out on the part of all of the Buccaneers there. White shirts surrounding the basketball. Full court pressure on the part of the Spartans as well. Their full court pressure is designed to take time off the clock, make the Buccaneers bring it up slowly.
Boyth, a great steal. Diving on the floor, dishes it off to May. They will try to set up the offense, and once again, inside to Boyth and off the glass.
Nice high-low play right there. Boyth, very experienced player. Led the Southern Conference in field goal percentage. Last year, Doc, he shot 62%. Is that a little better than your operation?
That's a little bit better than what we can do in the operating room. Here's Wade, and it rolls off the rim and tumbles out of bounds. It'll be East Tennessee State's ball.
Both of these teams play very, very difficult non-conference schedules. You can look at UNC Greensboro. They play Kansas, Alabama, and West Virginia and Syracuse, and East Tennessee, Vandy, Virginia, South Carolina, and that's South Florida. So both coaches have rocks in their head.
How about going out to Fog Allen Fieldhouse in Kansas, opening up the year in the preseason NIT?
I'll tell you what, the good thing is that they beat Wagner. UNC Greensboro beat Wagner in the preseason NIT. The bad news is, as you mentioned, they have to go to Kansas to play next.
They got to go out and Kurt Heinrich and company out in Kansas.
Nice switching defense on the part of East Tennessee State.
Outside shot for three. It'll be off the rim and follow inside. Great effort inside by the senior Luke Boyth out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
The lefty jumper from the perimeter, same spot, missed twice. And on the weak side, Wade does not box out. Boyth, you can see why he shot 62% from the field last year. This year, not quite as good. His numbers are down a little bit, had some knee problems. But he is an important player for Fran McCaffrey.
As you said, struggling with a little bit of a knee and ankle late last year and also early this year. Been bothered by foul trouble in the last couple of outings.
This is a 2-2-1 three-quarter court press. They want to get the trap at half court, but they want to slow East Tennessee State down. East Tennessee State likes to push it, and this has slowed them down. Now a zone defense on the part of Fran McCaffrey's squad. 2-3.
Get it back to the freshman Smith. A little long off the iron. Johnson on the rebound. Transition game for UNC Greensboro. Shows up and off the rim by May. And now you see why Z was such an effective rebounder a year ago. Jay Joseph with the dish. And Boyth can't hold on the pass from Bristow. Early on here at the Mini-Dome. And the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State on top by 2 over the Spartans of UNC Greensboro. Back in just a moment. And back at the Mini-Dome, I'm Jerry Bunch along with Bob Wenzel. Glad to have you with us for the Southern Conference opener for these two teams that are picked in the preseason to finish 1-2 in the North Division of the Southern Conference. And the big concern for Fran McCaffrey early on, the loss of his point guard in the last outing in Ronnie Taylor, having to use a freshman to get the ball up the floor and also get their offense in force.
And what's going to happen, because of that, East Tennessee is going to pressure full court. Now, I want to ask you a question. You feel comfortable in this building?
I just can't remember
who
won the toss. We'll defer to the second half. I'm just glad to be inside after all the college, our Capital One Bowl week. What an exciting, what a thrilling week that was. And how about those Buckeyes? We'll talk more about that last night with a great effort they had against Miami. Congratulations to all you Buckeye fans. Well, the Buccaneers are getting it done here early on.
So far, both teams fairly good in terms of their field goal percentage. A separate kind of press that time. Both teams trying to change defenses. We've seen 5 different defenses by these teams designed to confuse the offense.
And the big 270-pounder heads for the basket and just runs over, and he will get the charge. He runs over Tizzo Johnson. And they peel Tizzo up off the floor. That's 6'7", 270 pounds of Gerald.
Well, coming at you. Nice ball fake a la Larry Bird. Gets his man off. And Tizzo Johnson sacrificing his body into your living room.
I think Larry Bird may have been a little bit better on the ball fake than that. But
you got to stop once you get going.
Yeah. Bristow, the long pass. Great block over Bristow. And did they lose it out of bounds? It will be Greensboro ball. Great effort by number 44. Zaki Wadoud out of Lone Oak, Arkansas. Led the conference in rebounds a year ago, averaging almost 10 a game.
18 against Virginia. In an earlier game, they were ahead of Virginia at halftime.
At Charlottesville. Transition for Smith, the freshman. Lawson from outside, the only senior on the floor for the Buccaneers. Boyd, the inside pass, and whistle will be called. Well, lots of college basketball coming your way, but how about some high school basketball? 2003 Pangos Dream Classic, St. Vincent St. Mary's, and Modern Day. How about LeBron James, 9:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Last time, what an effort by LeBron James.
Against Oak Hill. Big game on ESPN. First time a high school player has been on. Reminds a lot of people of Kobe Bryant.
Very bright future for that young man. You'll see him tonight. Speaking of bright futures, there is James May, senior co-captain out of Kennesaw.
This is 1-2-2 now, full court pressure. This Smith, you would look for him to get through this, the little point guard for East Tennessee. He's a very creative young man. Does a lot of good things. Didn't start the first 4 games of the year, but since then he's been in the last 7. He generates offense for them with his quickness.
And they will turn it over.
Well, Brad Knuckles in the game. He is a very highly recruited young man. Council, Virginia, they won the state championship, averaged 30 points a game in high school, and he is in place now with Fields at the same time. So very big lineup right there in the post for the Buccaneers.
May inside against Knuckles, who made him alter the shot. Scramble on the floor, and the little guy, Smith, comes up with it and will be tied up by Boyd. Well, turnovers have been a big problem for both these clubs early in the season, but more so for UNC Greensboro.
They're at the opposite ends of the spectrum, really. East Tennessee is a +5, so they're the best in the league. UNC Greensboro, the worst in the league at -3, and that's what you would expect when you have a point guard that is gone. East Tennessee turning it over more so far, which is uncharacteristic.
Greensboro averaging 17 turnovers a game, and as you said, East Tennessee State's defense taking it away more early in the year, despite their tough schedule. Wade inside.
Fields likes it on the perimeter at 6'7", 270. Depth ball handler.
Quick transition for Greensboro. The ball is kicked. They picked up by May. Trying to work it inside to Boyd. Over Fields. And again a turnover as the freshman Tim Smith, who's been so good early in the year and very impressive.
Well, what happens with a young guy like Tim Smith, sometimes these guys get to going too fast. The little quick guys that you see in college basketball. He's not really like that usually. He's been very consistent for them. I think nervous tension a little bit at the beginning of the game on the part of East Tennessee. They are at home. Greensboro shooting the ball quickly enough so that they don't turn it over. I don't think we're going to have any problem with the shot clock in this game.
May works toward the basket.
He can play. Pump. Yeah. He can play. He's a first-team all-conference player. He can take the ball to the basket. Against Syracuse, he had 19 points, 8 rebounds.
And the whistle as they try to tie up Tyrus Wade.
Mason is in now at a guard spot, as well as Ronnie Burrell coming in for the Spartans. He gives them some athleticism on the boards.
Mark Mason, the freshman out of Parkland and Winston-Salem, Parkland High School, same high school as Ray Bristow, who started the game at point guard for the Spartans.
Highly unusual to have 2 guards in the same class from the same high school.
Smith penetrates left hand. Great effort by the true freshman who spent a couple of years at Hargrave Military Academy.
Hargrave, I think they were like 60-4 when he was there. They won a few games at that school.
The other 4 starters headed to Florida, NC State, Wake Forest, and Tennessee, so pretty good starting 5 they had at Hargrave.
Well, you mentioned Wake Forest and NC State. Didn't you attend both of those schools?
I did. I undergraduate and medical school in that order.
There you go.
And Ed Ed DeShellis will say, let's talk it over a little bit here as East Tennessee State has fallen behind by 2. The Spartans are roared back. Back with more from the Mini-Dome in just a moment. All right, thanks, Matt. We are back in Johnson City, Tennessee. Southern Conference opener for UNC Greensboro and East Tennessee State. These two teams finished tied atop the Southern Conference a year ago, along with Davidson, a 3-way tie, along with the Wildcats.
Doc, there are 2 divisions, a North and South division. There are 12 teams total. 6 teams tied for first place, 3 in each division last year. So you talk about parity, the Southern Conference like the NFL.
And we will have their tournament championship game at the end of the year down in Charleston, South Carolina. So
on the 8th of March, 6 p.m. There's a lot of good players in this conference, and there's one of them, Tyrus Wade, freshman, one of the top freshmen last year. Leading scorer this year was a sophomore.
And May coming down with a rebound, leading rebounder and scorer for the Spartans of UNC Greensboro. Ball tipped inside, great save. Nope, got a foot on the inline.
Well, the concern of Fran McCaffrey coming into this game was turnovers. His point guard, as you mentioned, Ronnie Taylor, out for the year with a broken leg. 3 guards are freshmen, and they've handled the ball reasonably well so far. This is the kind of play that you don't want to see if you're their coach. May almost gets it. If he wore size 13, it would have been still in, but he wears 14.
That right foot just got the toes on the line on that right foot there.
That's right.
Spartans up by 2 here after East Tennessee State broke on top early on.
Doc, zone defense has been effective right here. They haven't been able to make any threes, and the penetration, they've come up with turnovers like this. East Tennessee really turning the ball over in this game so far.
And we got a doubleheader coming your way. College basketball at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Matt Doherty's young North Carolina Tar Heels visit Darius Rice and the Miami Hurricanes, opening up the brand new Convocation Center in Miami at 9 o'clock. Aloysius Anaganya and Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans meet Hollis Price and the Oklahoma Sooners. So a doubleheader coming up later today on ESPN.
Well, Matt Doherty's team, they have a big problem because Sean May is out there. Great inside player, averaging about 13 points and 9 rebounds a game. So their challenge will be how to combat that. And Miami, of course, Darius Rice, the nephew of Jerry Rice. He can also catch passes. and James Jones, a very dynamic forward combination for Perry Clark down there and in Miami. And they're very proud of that new arena they have.
$48 million facility they open up in Miami. You will with the Tar Heels. I'd like to open your new arena and have the North Carolina Tar Heels come in.
Well, last year I would have loved it. This year, maybe not so much. They're better.
Got a whistle on the shove inside.
Well, these teams know each other very, very well, and I was a little surprised to see UNC Greensboro pressing so much on the road, but there's an old coaching axiom that says press a pressing team, and I think that he wanted to give some of East Tennessee some of their own medicine, and so far it's worked very well for Greensboro. They're only 3-8, but maybe some of the competition they played early helping in this game.
Saw Josh Gross a moment ago checking in. He's their defensive specialist for UNC Greensboro.
And he is their best athlete. He is an above-the-rim kind of guy.
Here's the freshman center, a little short on the hook. Rebound, Wadoud.
Wadoud has done most of his damage on the board so far in this game, and that's where they don't really go to him. They don't run plays for Wadoud, but he gets it off the boards. Great steal by Smith.
And the freshman 5'9" goes up right in front of the basket. Reminds a lot of folks here of a guy by the name of Mr. Jennings here in the late 80s, early 90s, who just lit up this mini-dome for a couple of years for the Buccaneers.
He was a great one of the best players in the history of the Southern Conference. Wade from deep. Whoa! In transition, you talk about Southern Conference players. Last year, they had 2 players who were freshmen who were top 7 in the country. Jason Connolly of VMI led the country in scoring as a freshman, 29 points. And Kevin Martin from Western Carolina, 22 points a game. What East Tennessee wants to do is play tough, hard-nosed, pressing defense. The pick of the pocket by Tim Smith. The rest is easy.
And take a look at East Tennessee State. Now you understand why they lead the conference in steals per game. Almost 14 a game, thanks to Timmy Smith.
And Greensboro at the other end of the spectrum in that regard. Zone defense now.
Outside for three, May off the rim. Tries to get his own rebound. Lawson off to Smith. Quick transition for the Buccaneers. Smith takes it in and will get pushed inside and will shoot a couple. Foul on the freshman Mason. Freshman guard out of Winston-Salem.
Well, in that kind of a situation, Doc, that's what they want Tim Smith to do. They want him to push the ball up the floor quickly. Earlier in the year, Oatman was playing for him, had a little bit of a leg injury. He's not the kind of speed that Smith is. Smith generates these kind of easy baskets, and DeChellis loves him for it.
And Tyrus Wade will take a seat. You hear the crowd here. He's one of the crowd favorites. Also the freshman guard who just produced the foul a moment ago. Takes a seat. There's Timmy's.
Pretty good numbers for a point guard to shoot over 50% from the field. Pretty good.
4-point lead and another steal. Wadood, and it rolls in. They'll start chanting Z here in just a moment. Zaki Wadood.
Well, East Tennessee State has used a remarkable number of defenses early. Great anticipation by Wadood. Uses the glass to soften the shot. Able to make it long and lean. Very good in the press. Eddie DeChellis happy about the way his team responding now.
And very, very impressed with his freshman guard, Tim Smith, in the transition. Good speed, good penetration. In fact, we asked Ed DeChellis to talk to us about Tim Smith and what he brings to the Buccaneers.
Timmy Smith's a fastball pitcher, you know, he really pushes the ball. He makes everybody run. Our wings run, our posts run with Timmy. He gives a whole different dimension. I think he puts a lot of pressure on the defense right away, because when someone else scores, we're trying to get the ball in his hand, and we try to push it as fast as we can to the other end.
And there's a look at the young man, 5'9", 155-pounder, and he's
got it again, and got the timeout as well. Great play by Smith. You talk about the little guy's influence in the basketball game. He does it both with his defense and offense.
Hard to believe he did not start until the 5th game of this year. You mentioned Oatman, who started the first 4, coming off a knee injury a year ago, and they bring in Smith.
Sometimes coaches don't get it, you know, and they got to see what happens. I had D. Brown one year play for me at Jacksonville. He was a sub. He dunked a offensive rebound on a free throw lane. I said to my assistant, how come we're not playing him more?
And talking about some great talent coming your way. Tonight, LeBron James returns to national television as St. Vincent St. Mary of Akron, Ohio meets Modern Day High School, led by DJ Strawberry, son of Darryl Strawberry. It's all part of the Pangos Dream Classic.
His numbers have improved every single year he's been there, and obviously big numbers this year in the 7 games he's played. Had 31 against Oak Hill. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you play a game and you're the opponent against St. Vincent St. Mary's, if you win, do you get 2 wins against St. Vincent and St. Mary's?
I think you have to. It's called a doubleheader.
Yeah, I always schedule William and Mary for that reason.
And hope only Mary shows up. Inside by the freshman. And Knuckles from nearby Council, Virginia.
Pressure beginning to wear on UNC Greensboro. It's been consistent throughout. They've got to make them pay. And right here, Bristows' inexperience hurts them.
We are at the Mini Dome. They call it actually Memorial Center here in Johnson City, Tennessee. UNC Greensboro Spartans and the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State. I'm Jerry Punch along with Bob Wenzel, opening the Southern Conference play for these 2 co-champions a year ago and the top 2 picks to win the North Division here in 2003.
Greensboro went to the NIT last year. Davidson was the representative of the Southern Conference in the tournament and lost by 5 to Ohio State out in Albuquerque. Tyrus Wade is a scorer, Doc. He has made jumpers off screens. He's made plays dribbling. He's gone to the offensive boards. Multi-dimensional offensive player is Tyrus Wade.
Averaging almost 16 points a game. Great passing, and they throw it away under the bucket. And again, Smith in the transition will take it and off the glass, the freshman. East Tennessee State getting it done here. When we come back, we'll take a look at, and back at the Mini Dome, the Buccaneers opening up a 12-point lead by virtue of their great transition game.
Right here, the defense is what's really doing this so far. These are some examples we're showing you right here. Tim Smith takes it all the way after this steal and lays it in over the big man. 9 turnovers on the part of UNC Greensboro and 5 steals on the part of the Buccaneers. So far, James May, 6 points.
And if you're in the Southern Conference, you watch this game, you say, oh my gosh, we got to play this guy. He is and a true freshman out of Hargrave Military Academy. Spent a couple of years there. As you said, their record was 60-4.
Change of defense right here after the timeout. A 1-3-1 zone on the part of Eddie DeChellis. And they are prepared for this. They practiced against this yesterday, but it's different when your second team's running it and when East Tennessee's running it. A staple of their defensive repertoire.
Repertoire.
See how far the ball is being passed out here. No penetration at all so far. Clock at 7.
Jay Joseph will take it. He's a shooter, a little short. ETSU again underneath at 5'9", gets the rebound. Inside, and the whistle across the arm. And Zaki Wadoud is fouled under the basket.
One of the things about Jay Joseph, Doc, is he has 0 points so far in this game. He's the second leading scorer for Fran McCaffrey. Wadoud steps to the line. Very experienced player, a junior. Very good numbers. On the free throw line, not as great as he is from the field, but pretty good rotation. But Jay Joseph not scoring in this game is very, very important, and that's part of the reason that we've got this differential in the score right now. Boyd played early and was strong. Joseph goes to the bench to clear his head.
22 points last outing on Thursday night against Juniata College, a Division III opponent here in the Mini Dome, and equaling his best performance of the year. 22 against College of Charleston earlier.
Speaking of College of Charleston, they won the Great Alaska Shootout, beating Oklahoma State, Wyoming, and Villanova. So another good Southern Conference team.
Great run by the College of Charleston early in the year.
And of course, a new coach there, Tom Herrion, the former assistant to Pete Gillen at Virginia, doing a great job. His brother, the head coach of East Carolina, beat Marquette recently. Some upset stuff runs in the Herrion family.
Spartans of UNC Greensboro trying to upset this zone and able to penetrate for the basket.
May has nice balance. I mean, he put the ball on the floor, avoided the charge, got that medium game, pull-up jumper. Strong legs required to pull up on a shot like that.
Wade from outside, it'll be short. And they battle on the floor for the rebound. And it'll be Greensboro basketball.
Well, Wade followed his own shot, wasn't blocked out very well. Fran McCaffrey, of course, concerned about the turnovers. Full court pressure coming again. This is the kind of pressure when you do this kind of stuff for 40 minutes, Doc. It has a tendency to wear it. Occasionally, UNC Greensboro will get through it, might get a good shot. Then all of a sudden, it comes in spurts.
Back outside to May. Thinks about the shot. Will dish it off to Hargrove, who is long on his shot. Another freshman. Transition. Great effort by Ben Rhoda.
Nice hang by Rhoda. Hung in the air, let the defense slide by him. A freshman also from Dayton, Ohio.
And the Buccaneers continue to pull away here. Trying to get a timeout is Hargrove. And he will be fouled instead by Rhoda over the top.
A little overly aggressive on the part of Ben. Right here, you can get overzealous at times. A slip, Rhoda, World Wrestling Federation.
It's a takedown in wrestling.
I'll tell you what,
Mason
on
the inside. May on the move. Great movement, and May comes down and comes up hobbling a little bit on that right ankle.
Well, he is carrying them right now. James May looking to score every time he touches. Wade trying to answer. Nothing involved.
3.5 steps. Tyrus Wade on the way to the basket there. Will turn it over for East Tennessee State.
Eddie DeChellis talked a little bit about how talented Wade was and how he and Wade have to have some discussions occasionally because of his emotion. Sometimes it can be negative, but so far we haven't seen any evidence of that. Turnover story fairly even, but what's happening is East Tennessee, they are leading to layups. Boyd back in doing a good job. he and May are the best players on the floor so far for Franny's team.
Take a look at the freshman here coming over the top. That is Knuckles. You mentioned Brad Knuckles from nearby Council, Virginia, the two-time Group 8 Player of the Year in the state of Virginia last year in high school.
Fields has been out for quite a while. When we came to practice yesterday, you know, he was not here. He has a little bit of a meniscus problem. So as a result, I think they're trying to keep his minutes down, treating him with anti-inflammatories.
They talked about swelling in Fields' right knee. Take a look at the substitution. That's Sean McCarthy, sophomore center coming in as they trying to keep fresh troops here in this transition game. Rhoda, who was due to attend Air Force this year, in the last minute ended up coming to East Tennessee State. We'll tell you that story in just a moment. Interesting story is shot clock down to 12. Inside and couldn't quite hang on. Rhoda with the loose ball and in traffic will draw the foul.
Solid play by Rhoda. It all started with the penetration by Smith. 4 Buccaneers in the paint rebounding on this. Look at all the white shirts around. Fast hands on the part of Rhoda, and right here, not trying to avoid the foul, confident at the free throw line.
Mentioned Ben Rhoda was supposed to go to the Air Force Academy. He was due to enroll there, and he had an ailment when he was 12 years old, but had been cleared by the physicians in July, getting ready to head out to Colorado Springs. They had a medical committee do some research and said, no, we can't clear you. You can't come here. So they had to get on the horn and find someone with an open scholarship, and absolutely it was to his benefit that he was able to come here to East Tennessee State and play for Ed Juchelis and company.
Well, he's done so far very, very well in this game. Aggressive after the ball, defensively, physical kind of guy.
And he'll have the block on Rhoda as Mason wisely getting a step by, and they will call the block on the freshman.
High energy player, but clearly a defensive foul. Mason goes to the line. He also a freshman.
8-team foul on East Tennessee State, so shooting 1-and-1. We mentioned Mason played for Parkland High School, a 3A runner-up in North Carolina a year ago. He and Ray Bristow both coming as the 2 guards for Parkland last year, coming to UNC Greensboro.
Hargrove in the game gives them more athleticism as well. Trying to come from behind. McCarthy will try to guard the basket and block shots. He's the leading shot blocker on this team.
Off the glass, Tizzo Johnson rakes it down, and ball rolls out of bounds. It'll be East Tennessee State basketball. Brad McCaffrey's done a great job. There's a look at Ed Juchelis as well. These 2 coaches who have significantly improved both their programs over the last 3 to 4 years.
Well, Juchelis has won more games than anybody in the Southern Conference the last 2 seasons in Southern Conference games. That was tipped by Tizzo Johnson. And Fran McCaffrey, of course, took his team to the postseason NIT last year, and the year before that, they were in the big dance.
They won the conference tournament 2 years ago. We're talking about UNC Greensboro, McCaffrey and company. Last year, you mentioned going to the NIT. They get Memphis in the pyramid at the opening round of the NIT. Memphis went on to win the NIT. And the year before, in the opening round of the Big Dance, they get Stanford.
Well, that's what happens when you're in the position that Fran McCaffrey finds himself. And, of course, Courtney Eldridge and David Shook were their top players. Both graduated. Eldridge had his jersey retired already. So 2 very, very important players for Fran in the last several years, not here now. And, of course, that's why they are 3-8 right now. Now, being a medical man, can you tell this what we're going on right here?
And the blood rule, some blood on the sleeve of Brad Knuckles, so they will bring him out to get that cleaned up.
A small team in right now for East Tennessee State. 3 perimeter players, Rhoda, Lawson, and Smith, all little guys.
Rhoda, one of 6 players, 1 Buccaneers that were in double figures on Thursday night against Juniata College of Pennsylvania.
Well, the game has gone the way Ed DeChellis wanted it to. He has used 5 different defenses, all oriented towards creating turnovers and fast break opportunities, and that has successfully gotten them this lead.
And the drive from the freshman Danny Hargrove will draw the foul. Hargrove out of Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Hargrove has athleticism about him, and right here, the back man stepping up to try to take the charge a little bit late. Hargrove didn't play much until the last game, came off the bench and had 9 points, 4 of 4 from the field. Nice looking stroke.
Came out of Faith Christian Academy for that man right there, Fran McCaffrey. Hargrove enrolled back in January of 2002.
Worked out with the team in the spring, so he knows the system.
Well, a 7-point differential here at the Mini Dome as the Buccaneers hold the top spot, 34-27. Back in just a moment.
Left.
And thanks, Matt. Back at East Tennessee State University, some of the students here getting dressed up. Looks like the Wenzel family during the holidays. Don't you guys all paint your stomachs during the holidays?
Yeah, we do. Somebody's paying for that child's education.
Some proud mothers and fathers are watching their kids.
So far, the difference in the game really is field goal percentage shooting. East Tennessee obviously doing very, very much better. The only thing that's keeping Greensboro in the game, they're 11 for 11 from the free throw line so far.
We just joined our coverage. East Tennessee State University in white. The gold is University of North Carolina at Greensboro, the Spartans of Fran McCafferty. And the shove inside on Wade. Wilson, the big fella, to the free throw line.
Well, East Tennessee State is picked as the team to beat in the Southern Conference this year, partly due to that man, Tyrus Wade, who's going to step to the line, their leading scorer. But they are the strongest inside team in the league. There are other teams that have strong perimeter games, but in terms of inside presence with Fields and now Brad Knuckles and Tyrus Wade and Zakiwa Dude, they have the most depth in the front court as Fields takes a seat, 6'7", 270 from Gainesville, Florida. I'm surprised Spurrier didn't have him out there on the football team.
Word was that they were considering, he's out of Gainesville High School, taking a look at him for the Gators as a defensive end down there, but he ended up coming and playing basketball here in Tennessee. Lots of young players on the floor for McCaffrey. Inside the dish, and they tied him up.
Well, when the ball
for East Tennessee State.
I'm sorry, Doc. When the ball gets lodged in the basket like that, it becomes a jump ball. And when that happens, it's a nice pass right here, but he goes up, 2 feet. The basket was 3 feet. He went up 2 feet, got stuck in there. And of course, that's a jump ball in favor of the Buccaneers.
And the hot dish from Smith to the freshman Knuckles, couldn't hold on.
Well, he looked like they caught that with his knuckles. Should have caught it with his fingers right there because it was a good pass, but a little too hard. Big men need to keep their hands up when little guys come to the basket.
And the pocket is picked again by Smith inside off the glass.
2 or 3 of those so far in this game, and they can swing a game. The value of aggressive defense shown in turnovers and easy baskets.
Spartans got to get untracked offensively. They had drawn back to within a half a dozen of East Tennessee State. ETSU's lead was 12 at the midpoint here in the first half.
May not getting as many touches as he did before. Joseph not playing because he's not playing well, and he's their second leading scorer on the bench.
Hargrove for a couple from outside. And DeChellis wanting his point guard to settle down a little bit, run their offense.
They haven't seen much man-to-man. This is the first possession of man-to-man. They will run a Kansas-like offense, oriented to getting the ball inside. Wade wants to go.
Very patient rotation for Wade. Double pumps. Morrell on the rebound. Local crowd thinks there may have been a couple of steps there from May. There might have been a step and a half, but
he's open. Solid defense on the part of East Tennessee. 3 guys collapsed on him.
Great effort inside by McCarthy, keeping it alive. The sophomore center. Danny Hargrove. McCarthy tries to go up, gets his pocket pick. Guess who? Mr. Smith inside, back to Smith. Off the rim. Transition back to May for three.
May is a very solid three-point shooter when he gets open looks. When he has been open, he's been very effective tonight. But the Chelis' team doing a good job of shadowing him in the zone.
Drawing back to within 5 here with just 30 seconds to go in the first half. Memorial Center, the Mini Dome, Johnson City, Tennessee. Opening Southern Conference contest for UNC Greensboro and East Tennessee State University. Co-champions a year ago, along with Davidson in the Northern Division. And Smith takes it all the way in the final 9 seconds. Wade with the rebound. He will charge inside, and he will be called for the charge. Coming up at halftime, the Flyers do it again. Charlotte and Indiana, the 49ers, taking on the Hoosiers. A tough one up there. Tough place to play, and a legend retires. How about Lefty calling it quits?
A lot of games against him when I was an assistant at Duke and other places as well. Took 4 schools to 100-win seasons. Nobody else has ever done that.
Southern Conference coach at Davidson for many, many years.
Maryland, James Madison University, and now Georgia State.
And the left-hander calling it quits. All that at halftime with Matt Weiner and company.
Oh, great out-of-bounds play.
Great shot at the buzzard, and the Spartans of Greensboro pulled to within 2 here at halftime. Watch this out-of-bounds play here.
Well, when you have your best shooter take the basketball out of bounds, no one guards him, so he steps right back in. Sean McCarthy gets it right back to him. Well designed, well executed. That's how you'd like to end the half.
And the Spartans are roaring back here at halftime. Our halftime score, East Tennessee State 38 and the Spartans 36. Let's go to the studio and Matt Weiner. Matt? And back at Memorial Center in Johnson City, East Tennessee State with a slim 2-point lead over UNC Greensboro. I'm Jerry Punch along with Bob Wenzel. And Bob, first half highlights, a lot of turnovers and some pretty good defensive efforts by East Tennessee State.
Well, in the first half, right here, the turn of the left ankle by number 32, Jay Joseph. He goes down, 0 points. He's their second leading scorer. As a result, May had to carry the load. He had 16 points in the first half. And the story, of course, for East Tennessee State, the little guy, Tim Smith. 5 steals, goes down, 5 buckets on breakaway kind of shots, and that has kept them in front. But Fran McCaffrey's team has done a very good job at the free throw line. They are 11 for 11 there, and that has kept him in the game. Ed DeChellis, happy that he has a lead, but only a 2-point lead. UNC Greensboro playing a little bit better. Jay Joseph back in the game after being treated at halftime. We'll see what kind of impact he make.
And you saw Smith a moment ago, 4 steals in the first half as UNC Greensboro on offense here to begin the second half. They were down by 13 at the 6-minute to go mark in the first half and pulled to within 2 at halftime. They turn it over to open the second half, and here's Smith again in transition. Out to Lawson. Rebound by May for the Spartans.
Another thing that happened in the first half is Zakiwa Dude, who's probably the best player on East Tennessee State's team, only played 11 minutes because he had 3 fouls, but he had 9 points in those 11 minutes. He number 44 on your screen. You would expect him to do much more in the second half.
Freshman mistake by Bristow. Wade takes it all the way. Follow up, Boyth on the rebound. Good effort by Boyth. Both teams struggling offensively here to kick off the second half.
Bristow struggling with 3 turnovers in the first half. A young guy.
Take a look at our first half stats here for this Southern Conference. 2-point separation. Field goal percentage belongs to East Tennessee State.
Well, of course, and look at the bottom, the steals, very, very important because those steals led to easy layups. And as a result, that's what caused the 50% shooting in the first half.
We might mention, if you just joined our coverage, Ronnie Taylor, the starting point guard for UNC Greensboro, injured in their last outing, so they've got a freshman making only his second start. That's why the turnover graphic that important for UNC Greensboro. Fields up and couldn't get the shot off.
Well, this is a lethargic start to the second half. I'm really surprised at this. I thought both teams would come out with big-time energy, having it be a close game, especially Greensboro. They struggled, were so far behind, and made a run in the second half.
Joseph for the first points of the game. Tizzo Johnson with the ferocious rebound, and he will be Hacked on the way back up. High school hoops coming your way. Saturday night, LeBron James returns to national television as St. Vincent St. Mary of Akron meets Modern Day High School, led by DJ Strawberry, son of Daryl Strawberry. Part of the Pango Stream Classic at Pauley Pavilion in L.A., coming up 9:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2.
Daryl Strawberry's son signed with Maryland, so he's going to go to the Terps and see if he can't help them go after another national championship. Tizzo Johnson at the line.
Well, what a job Gary Williams and company did last year for Maryland for the Terrapins, huh?
That was exciting. That was exciting. They're not too bad this year either.
And Johnson will nail the free throw. So we are all knotted here in the second half. Only 2 points have been scored since halftime. Those two by Tizzo Johnson. Here is Smith. And Wadood, as the ball is brought down, it'll be touched by...
I'll tell you what, Tim Smith is all over the floor. Ed DiCello's screaming at his guys to get up and press. He wants to create more turnovers. Somebody's open deep. They didn't see him. But full court pressure, a staple of East Tennessee State under Ed DiCello, and getting their hands on the ball, even though you don't get a steal on a play like that, causes havoc with your opponent. It takes away a little of their confidence. Ed DiCello is very sound. Coach of the Year 2 years in a row. Fran McCaffrey also very sound, 11 years at Notre Dame. Also the head coach at Lehigh for 3.
From outside, Vermey, little guy on the rebound, Tim Smith.
I think little guys should rebound. You know, the little guy's man is not going to the offensive board, so little guys should be in there getting rebounds.
Smith all over the floor, as you said. Rebounds, checking the dribble. Inside, the tap by Joseph. Here comes Wade. May on Wade, two of the best on best. Rebound inside by...
Well, Tyrus Wade has missed 2 fast break layups right here. Fouled on this one, however.
Here's our star watch in the first half. We see May had 16 points, 2 rebounds, 2 of 3 from three-point range, and Tyrus Wade, leading scorer for the Bucks.
Good job in the first half, especially May. When Joseph went out, he had to carry the offensive load and did so admirably. Burrell comes in, and Burrell gives them a little action on the offensive board, but he had 3 turnovers in the first half, and not a strong performer in terms of handling the basketball.
Burrell a factor early on when they played Kansas out at Fog Island. Very physical inside and rebounding. He's an NIT. Long pass to Burrell, and he will be fouled under the basket by Ryan Lawson.
Well, that's a good foul. And on a breakaway situation like that, it's not a dirty play, it's a solid play. Force Burrell to go to the free throw line, where he's an inexperienced player. He's shooting 70% from there, but hasn't shot a lot. Pretty nice looking stroke. Montclair, New Jersey sophomore.
Career high 11 points off the bench against Delaware earlier in the year, back in December.
Very nice looking stroke.
And we are tied once again here in the second half. We just joined our coverage. East Tennessee State up by 13 late in the first half, and a run by the Spartans. And again, a steal by May. And that's Jay Joseph, pardon me. Correction, that's Joseph on the steal.
I'm impressed with UNC Greensboro, the way they're changing defense to try to keep the home team out of sync. They've done it remarkably well during the course of this game. And as a result, they're in it.
Lawson on the miss. Wade with the follow.
Well, there's some of the athleticism that allowed him to score 23 against the Virginia Wahoos.
Joseph off the board. Great rebound, great effort by Burrell inside. We are in Johnson City, Tennessee, Memorial Center, affectionately known as the Mini Dome. Southern Conference opener between East Tennessee State and the white, that's the Buccaneers, and the gold of University of North Carolina Greensboro Spartans. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Bob Wenzel. Glad to have you with us on our ESPN2 coverage of college basketball.
Well, Burrell, consecutive trips to the free throw line, 3 for 3. And now Greensboro has not missed a free throw the entire game. 14 for 14. You make free throws like that, you're going to be in any game. 2-2-1. Try to trap the ball at the 10-second line. And then back into zone.
Off-balance shot by Wade, and he will draw the foul.
You can see creativity on the part of Wade. He's a very athletic guy. He can get his shot in traffic. Goes to the free throw line where he shoots nearly 80%. Right here, a nice jump stop in between 3 players. Gets a little off balance there, but keeps his shoulders square, and that's what you want. And watch his free throw technique.
Talked to Tyrus yesterday. He was thrilled the fact that they played in a preseason tournament in Tampa. He is from Tampa, Florida, and his family got a chance to watch him play down there.
Made the all-tournament team at the University of South Florida, Conference USA team.
South Florida shootout. They beat Belmont in the opener and lost to South Florida in the second game. Long pass to May. Great effort. Great pass out of bounds by Luke Boyd.
Looked a little like Ken Dorsey on that play.
Another dish to May, and the rejection by Wadood. And the little guy, the transition for Smith, an easy 2.
That is a familiar sight with Tim Smith shooting layups. You get points in bunches when you press.
Mason, the freshman, will dish it off inside. Can't hold on to the pass. Good pass to May. And it was that kind of transition that cost UNC Greensboro a lot of points in the first half. East Tennessee State, we are tied here in the second half. Back in a moment. Okay. And thanks, Matt. We are back, and Boy Scouts are out in force here at the Mini Dome. Take a look at talking about force. Watch the rejection here.
Well, there's some athleticism involved in this league. We got to live action. Tim Smith handling the basketball. He and Wade really doing the bulk of the damage right now for East Tennessee State.
Wadood off the glass. Burrell on the rebound. Transition for UNC Greensboro. And they throw it away.
Tennessee State cold. East Tennessee State cold in the start of the second half. Wadood sat a long time in the first half with 3 fouls, and he has not warmed up yet. Greensboro 17 for 17 from the free throw line.
Hargrove, the freshman, over to May, the leading scorer. Got a couple of freshman guards. Mason inside of the senior Boyth for the turnaround.
Boyth has poise, and he's a guy we said shot 62% from the field last year. Only takes shots that are good percentage ones for him. Never forces.
Fields in, off the rim. Greensboro, and crashing the boards. They will call the foul on Burrell.
Well, McCaffrey has to be happy with the way his team is responding after halftime. They were down 2 at the half. They're playing very, very well right now. They're up 2. They're playing solid defense. East Tennessee struggling to score.
And they will call the charge on the freshman Tim Smith.
Well, Tim Smith is a quick guy, and he's usually getting around people. But solid play on the part of East Tennessee State. Right there, Hargrove sacrificing body.
And Fred McCaffrey's got to be thrilled, as you said, absolutely delighted at what he's seeing here with his very young basketball team in the second half.
Yes, but delight turns to frowns quickly when you turn the ball over like that. So a good play and a bad play. DeCellis trying to get his guys fired up. The way they scored in the first half was transition basketball. They did not play particularly well against the half-court sets, and they haven't had as many transition baskets here in the second half. That's why they're struggling and they're behind.
Need to get the big guy involved. Back out to Wadood.
Boyth is doing a good job right here on Fields. Fields has the body size. Boyth, though, a clever post defender.
Wadood for 3 from the arc. Off the rim. Great rebound by the senior inside, and Lawson puts it in.
Lawson, a garbage kind of player, a hustle guy, experienced, can shoot the 3, but knowing his team needs some energy, he is after it on the board.
Tied once again here in the second half. Largest lead for East Tennessee State, 13 in the first half, 2 for UNC Greensboro in the second half.
East Tennessee in the first half, 50%. Second half, 3 for 14. Is it any wonder UNC Greensboro's ahead? Solid defensive job by the Spartans.
And the possession error will give the ball back to East Tennessee State.
Lawson getting a lot of hustle plays going for his group. Joseph comes back in, struggling with the ankle. McCaffrey playing him in spurts.
Then Rhoda will dish it off out of bounds for Wade, and he is fouled on the shot.
Great execution. You know, end line out of bounds plays are like goal line situations. Right here, while dude vacates, Tyrus Wade fills the spot and gets punched in the stomach on the shot. Nice little action. Tyrus Wade, multiple ways to score.
And he will finish off the three-point play and put the Buccaneers back on top by a point.
Well, the intensity level in this game is very, very good on both teams' parts. The offense has struggled at times because of the changing defenses.
Good pass by Boyth inside. Burrell couldn't make the shot. Up again, fouls his own shot a third time, and they will whistle the foul inside. College basketball coming your way, 7 o'clock Eastern time. The Tar Heels of North Carolina head down to Miami to open up the new Convocation Center. Matt Doherty's young Tar Heels take on Darius Rice and company, the Hurricanes, at 9 Eastern time. Michigan State, Tom Izzo's bunch, taking on the Sooners of Oklahoma. And Darius Rice's numbers.
He's a good one. 6'10", loves the three-point shot. Takes more threes than he does twos. You can see he's got good numbers as an assist man also for a forward. 6'10", 220, plays on the arc.
One of the hustling Hurricanes you'll see later on today against the Tar Heels at 7 o'clock Eastern.
Michigan State also, hard to figure them out. You know, very physical. They win at Kentucky, then lose to Toledo. And Gagne is going to be on the boards in that one, you can be sure. And Oklahoma coming off their Final Four appearance, Kelvin Sampson's group. Ebi Ara, their leading scorer.
Oklahoma losing to Alabama and Mississippi State. One of the preseason favorites. Shot from outside by Wade.
Oh, baby. He is heating up. Count the ways he scores. You got to need your toes and your fingers to count all the ways. Look at this.
And the Tide is, and the Wade on the trade, back the pass behind the back by Smith. Couldn't quite get it to Wade. Burrell in the transition will slam it home and be fouled by Gerald Field.
Great action, Southern Conference. Burrell can fly. This kid doesn't have a lot of experience. He's only a sophomore, but 6'8", only 185. He can get up right here. Do not need this. Solid play on the part of Mason to make the steal and a good lead pass. Easy finish. Do not foul him. They haven't missed a free throw yet. 18 in a row. UNC Greensboro hanging in on the road.
What a great way to begin, what a great way to begin our Southern Conference coverage here.
Oh, this is fantastic stuff. Southern Conference, you know, East Tennessee thought to be the best team in the North. Greensboro thought to be the second best team. All of these teams don't have good records early because they play on the road against ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Big East teams. But once they get in conference play, the action heats up. Burrell really doing a nice job in his limited minutes.
The North Division also has Davidson, Bob McKillop's bunch of Wildcats.
Oh, yeah.
Who open the year at Duke, and they play at North Carolina this week. So let's talk about some tough non-conference schedules.
They beat North Carolina last year. That's what East Tennessee State needs, transition basketball. That is when they are at their best. And how do you do that? Rebound strong, but don't fall asleep.
Great pass inside to Burrell.
Man, he must be getting tired. He hasn't played this much all year.
Two well-coached ball clubs inside, using the body.
Fatigue right now, Doc. Both teams falling asleep defensively. You can see Burrell jogging up the floor. He is fatigued. East Tennessee also fatigued. Mark Mason doing a good job with the ball in your screen there, playing the point guard. He's their third point guard of the year.
Wade almost with a steal, and Wadud trying to tap it away. Great pass here off the back door. Burrell from May. And the Spartans for 2 more. And balls. And back at the Mini-Dome, we told you Greensboro played at Fog Allen early in the year in the preseason NIT against the Kansas Jayhawks, and Jay Joseph was on fire.
He made 5 of 9 threes in this game, mostly off screens. He's a standstill, uses teammate type guy, had 27 points on 11 of 18, and in this game, he has 0 points in the first half, and in that game, he was spectacular. He turned his ankle early, and in his stead, Ronnie Burrell has come up, a seldom used player, and now has 15 points because Joseph not himself today.
And against Kansas, he was being guarded by All-American guard Kirk Heinrich, and so he didn't have just anybody.
I didn't see Kirk in those screens. He must have been screened off. There is Joseph on the bench.
22 of those 27 in the first half. But a tough day here in Johnson City.
May really doing a good job. He's got 20 points so far in this game. He's carrying the load. Somebody has to help out in Joseph's absence, and Burrell's been doing it.
Wadood on the jump shot, and they will get the push inside. They will call it on May.
East Tennessee loves transition basketball. They like to get the ball down the floor, shoot quickly, and then crash the boards. Once you get them in a half-court set, they're not as effective. Their athleticism becomes less effective in that scenario. Oatman in the game was the starting point guard early. Today's his mother Mary's birthday. I didn't ask him how old she was. I thought that would have been impolite.
We wouldn't use that number anyway. Probably in her 20s, I'm sure. Got to be a bit of a surprise that East Tennessee State struggling. UNC Greensboro with a young basketball team. ETSU considered to be one of the stronger teams in the Southern Conference this year.
Yeah, Greensboro comes in 3-8. East Tennessee 6-5, and a lot of those losses for both of these teams are against high-profile glamour teams. So I guess that scheduling really has helped them. Nice balance by Hargrove.
Greensboro playing, which we showed you, at Kansas. They also played at number 4 Alabama. They go on to Syracuse to play up in the Carrier Dome against the Orange Men. Freshman inside.
Talk about freshmen. Knuckles doing a nice job.
We are at Memorial Center in Johnson City, Tennessee. They call it the Mini-Dome. NCAA basketball. I'm Jerry Punch along with Bob Wenzel. Southern Conference kickoff for these two schools. They finished tied atop the North Division last year in the Southern Conference along with Davidson.
Now, I'll tell you what. Very good action on the part of Tyrus Wade and Tim Smith for East Tennessee State, and James May, the experienced player, first-team all-conference player, carrying the load. He's got 20 points already.
Brad Knuckles makes the second of 2. Freshman out of Council, Virginia. Heavily recruited he was by Clemson Tigers, UNC Charlotte, Bobby Lutz and company. The 49ers wanted the young man, but he decided to stay close to home and play at East Tennessee State so the folks at home folks could watch him play.
Speaking of the Southern Conference and UNC Charlotte, Charlotte lost 2 games to Southern Conference teams, both Davidson and Appalachian State, earlier this season. Burrell is absolutely unconscious. This is a breakout game for him. If this kid can play like this all year round, they are going to be in the thick of things.
Got the push inside. Yeah, the smiles coming from the Spartans bench from Fran McCaffrey on the play of Burrell. How about some young ball players coming your way tonight? LeBron James returns to national television. St. Vincent St. Mary's of Akron, Ohio meets Modern Day. And DJ Strawberry is headed to Maryland to be a part of the Terrapins. That's the Pongo's Dream Classic at Pauley Pavilion in L.A. coming up tonight.
Also, Wesley Washington out of Modern Day going to Minnesota. So very talented, both groups.
Lawson on the check that.
Also play.
Rhoda on the rebound.
You know, St. Vincent St. Mary's has a player playing at Pittsburgh named Donatas Zavatkas. Pittsburgh, one of the top few teams in the country this year. Rhoda gives spark. There's no question about that. This guy averaged 28 points a game in high school at Centerville High School in Dayton, Ohio. And he really adds depth and energy on the perimeter. Kind of a garbage guy. Had 12 against Coastal Carolina from the Big South.
Missed the first 4 games of the year. He rolled an ankle in practice and was not able to play until the 5th game of the year. Coming on strong off the iron there on the free throw.
Man-to-man defense on the part of the Buccaneers now. Look for May to get free.
Great stop inside by Fields. Defensively, May the corner. inside to the freshman Hargrove. Mason.
Good patience right here. They got the nice shot that they wanted. Hargrove really could have taken it up and didn't, and he is paid off with continuing to move without the basketball. Nice execution by Greensboro.
Very patient basketball team Fran McCaffrey has brought here to Johnson City. Whistle inside, big bodies pushing as May goes down. And Wade will go to the free throw line.
Well, DeChellis, when he was at Penn State, I'll tell you, he did a great job not only recruiting players that could play, but also teaching them fundamentals. And we see that in this group also.
You know, he said that he was spent 10 years under Bruce Parkhill there, which he attributes to a lot of what he's learned about college basketball. They had 5 consecutive 21 seasons, 4 consecutive postseason appearances. What they were most proud of, he said, was the 100% graduation rate while they were there.
Yeah, that's a good thing to be proud of. They got numbers, 3-on-2.
Dish out.
Hargrove, I am really impressed with him. Last 2 possessions, he's had an opportunity to do something silly, and he didn't.
Boyth off the rim. Rebound, Wadood. And Wadood all alone, 44 for 2.
Wadood is right. What acceleration. And he gets a hand on that one as well.
Boyth with the follow-up. Fields brings it down, and they will call the foul on the freshman, Mark Mason.
When they are running and jumping, that is when they are at their best. Zaki Wadood taking it strong to the basket, and that's what he does the best. When East Tennessee, they play football in here. You know a little bit about that game, don't you, Dr. Bunch?
Yeah, they call it the mini dome, and actually East Tennessee State plays their college football inside here. The largest crowd here they crammed in 14,051 here back in October of 1994 for the Charlotte Hornets against the Atlanta Hawks for the NBA exhibition game. It holds 13,000. They brought in extra bleachers, so they had over 14,000 here at the mini dome. Of course, they've had some pretty good college basketball crowds here over the years.
When they told me that they played football inside, I was wondering whether we were going to play basketball outside when we came here. I'm glad we're in here.
Yeah, snow flurries outside here in Johnson City. We are in Johnson City, Tennessee for a Southern Conference opener. Great basketball game as East Tennessee State in the white, the Buccaneers, and the visiting University of North Carolina Greensboro Spartans.
I'll tell you what, you get into conference play in any league, whether it's the top few leagues or a league like the Southern Conference in the middle, the intensity level spirals, and we're seeing that in this game. Lots of aggressive play, the big-time players stepping up. May and Wadood for their teams, respective. Tyrus Wade also doing a great job.
James May tied up, possession arrow, and Greensboro will keep it inside and couldn't quite hold on. The senior Luke Boyth will turn it over to East Tennessee State.
That's a situation where the guy is too close to you to pass to him, especially a low pass like that to a big man. 2-2-1 right here. Try to trap him at the 10-second line.
Lawson, the senior, out to Fields.
Nice patience right here by East Tennessee State. They had an opportunity, declined it, looking to get the proper one. They're looking to get Wade involved.
Largest lead of the second half for the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State, who led by 2 at halftime. Wadood penetrates, loses the handle. Boyth on the garbage pickup, and it's tipped and will belong to University of North Carolina Greensboro.
Well, what happened that time is Tyrus Wade caught the ball in traffic and put it on the floor. That is a no-no against a zone that's collapsing.
Hargrove inbound to Boyth. Pressure in the backcourt. Great passing inside of Boyth, and it almost has it taken away by Ryan Lawson, the senior.
But one of the things that's surprising to me right now is Tim Smith is on the sideline. He had a lot of turnovers in the game. Eddie DeChellis going with Lawson and Brad Roeder, who are doing a fine job inside.
And how about Boyth wrestling it back?
I'll tell you what, man, that guy doesn't take many bad shots. He doesn't miss many shots either.
He's been plagued by foul trouble in a couple of games this year. Fouled out in 9 minutes against High Point. Back again. Here's May. Oh, in the air, just got rid of it to Bristow. And the leading scorer has it off the iron. 2-point basketball game here. Final 6 minutes of this Southern Conference opener between two of the heavyweights. East Tennessee State in the white and the Spartans of UNCG in the gold.
James May has not been out of the game much at all. I mean, he needs a rest or a sandwich.
Bristow for three, short. Rebound, the freshman Hargrove, and he will take steps. Back in Johnson City, Tennessee, Memorial Center. They call it the Mini Dome. I'm Jerry Punch along with Bob Wenzel. Glad to have you with us. Opening Southern Conference action. Turnovers by half. You see in the first half, the Spartans had turned it over quite a bit, had their pocket picked a couple of extra times.
Well, the thing that happened that was good for East Tennessee in the first half is they turned those into layups. The second half, the turnovers have been fairly even, and there have not been many breakaways for East Tennessee State. And that's why it's a 2-point game right now instead of a 12-point lead.
Up by Wade off the back of the iron. Spartans have a chance to tie it up here with 5 minutes to go.
Well, Bristow back in at the point.
And they're going to call the foul on Hargrove, racing along beside Tyrus Wade.
Well, that's an uneducated foul right there because they were back enough. They did not need this foul. Wade handling the ball nicely with his left hand. He's a right-handed player. You can see Hargrove grab his arm and pull it to his chest. Nice call. It worked out all right because he missed a free throw. Tyrus Wade, normally very reliable, 79%. Joseph comes back in. It's too bad he's been hampered in this game. Big-time scorer. Hargrove takes a seat.
And 1 of 2 for Tyrus Wade. The margin is 3 for East Tennessee State.
Well, you begin to think, if I was Eddie DeChellis, about getting Smith back in the game. He was the engine that get them going defensively.
May on a great pump fake.
Boy, you can see why he's one of the Southern Conference best player, can't you? He has a great pull-up game. He's always on balance, gives the fake, pulls up in the lane.
And they're going to call steps on the senior Lawson. Great defense on the double team.
Well, one official had a travel, one had a foul, and the reason that they go with the travel is the travel happened before the foul happened.
Foul would have been on Bristow, the freshman who has the basketball right now.
He has quickness, but his judgment is something to be desired as a young player. I'm sure he'll learn as he goes along.
Burrell the pass inside to May. Back out to the freshman Bristow. Joseph from 3. And he nails the three.
Welcome back, Jay Joseph. Where have you been?
And he puts the Spartans on top.
Oh, I'm telling you, what a time to make shots. End game situation.
Wade tries to get the timeout before the steps are called, and he will indeed get it. Jay Joseph absent from scoring in the first half. The dish out, and Joseph nails the 3 to put the Spartans on top. In Johnson City seesaw second half. We were East Tennessee State had 2-point lead at halftime. What an effort in the second half by Burrell. Ronnie Burrell out of Montclair, New Jersey.
Well, Burrell has been terrific, and he's 9 for 9 at the free throw line. He's got 17 points and 10 rebounds. He only averages 5 a game. Very athletic player. A coming out party for Ronnie Burrell. Best game of his career right here, and he is doing it when they need it most. Jay Joseph hampered by injury. Burrell steps up. Preparation meeting opportunity. Nice to see.
East Tennessee State University in the white, the Buccaneers in the gold. University of North Carolina at Greensboro, the Spartans. Inside to Tyrus Wade, off the glass for 2.
Doc, that's what you like to see after a timeout. Timeout are set situations, a designed play on the part of DeChellis, gets his best player in the paint with the basketball. Tim Smith back in.
And the tie-up in the possession arrow belongs to East Tennessee State, so they will take over. Less than 4 minutes to play this one. Southern Conference opener. They're all knotted up at 70 apiece. Back to Johnson City in just a moment. Thanks, Matt. How about those Buckeyes, though, last night? And a great effort by Jim Tressel and company, beating the Miami Hurricanes. Who would have thought that would have happened out in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl?
And double overtime. Looked like a basketball game.
Great effort by both those football teams. Great effort in the national championship. Congratulations to all the Buckeye fans. There's no one left in Ohio.
I wish they had a playoff. I really wish they had a playoff. Can you imagine if they had just 4 teams? That would be even better. Love it, love it. I know you can't say anything during that football stuff. Free throw story, big deal here. 20 for 20 for Greensboro. That is awesome. And of course, 17 for 26, not as good. Oh, big time!
Ryan Lawson, the senior, adds 3 for the Buccaneers.
Boy, did they need that. 3-point lead now with 3 minutes to go. It's step-up time for everybody. Watch Smith going after everything defensively. Number 5 in the white.
Freshman on freshman. Smith on Bristow. Here's O. Johnson.
Smith, a lot more experience, even though both are freshmen. Bristow hasn't played that much. Smith is a guy who can pick your pocket.
There's a guy that need to have handle the basketball. May, and the ball is tipped going up. And they will tie it up, and it will be Greensboro basketball. UNC Greensboro.
When you need a big shot late, you go to a senior. And right here, Fields delivers a great pass. Lawson catches in rhythm, and that is helpful. Nothing but net on that one. And Fields then blocked May's shot at this end, with Greensboro retaining possession.
Final 2:42 here in the Mini-Dome in Johnson City. Shot up from outside, rims out. Down by May to keep it alive for the Spartans.
Tizzo Johnson kept it alive.
Jay Johnson is short, and the long pass taken by Bristow as Wadood can't get there.
That's an outlet pass to nowhere. Joseph not shy. He finds it. Oh, man.
Just joined our coverage. Jay Joseph turned an ankle, rolled an ankle in the first half. Second leading scorer, held scoreless in the first half. Has been a major factor here in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the second half of this one.
I'll tell you what, he is not bashful. He's tried 3 threes in the last 2 possessions and made it. Right here, 2-3 zone. This is when things start to tighten. The outside shot, not as good in these kind of situations. It's best to probe inside and then get the ball to the perimeter.
Very patient on Ed DeChellis' offense here for the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State.
Wade not moving enough, falling asleep in the lane, he's trying to find an angle.
Gets a screen, the senior puts it up off the iron. Wadood has the rebound.
The second thing that East Tennessee can do is take a timeout and get themselves organized, which is what they're doing right now. McCaffrey very happy with the way his team is executing defensively.
And a lot more action coming your way tonight in college basketball. How about the Tar Heels and the Hurricanes of Miami coming your way? Brand new Convocation Center at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans taking on the Sooners of Oklahoma at 9 Eastern Time. How about Chris Hill, a sophomore guard from Michigan State?
He's terrific, averaging 16 points a game. Marcus Taylor left early, thought he was going to be a first-round draft pick, gets picked 51st by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Michigan State sending a lot of guys early to the NBA. Izzo, unbelievable the way they keep being good. You want to talk about clutch shots? Jay Joseph, right here. He made one here a few minutes ago. That ties it up with 1:32 to go. He is a clutch guy, an experienced player, even though he's injured, coming up big from three-point line. Nice hat. I think you'd look good in that.
I've got one like that. Mine's a little darker. Mine's more red.
You can see the numbers there. Zippo in the first half, 8 in the second half.
Off the East Tennessee State timeout. We'll see if they get some more movement offensively. Looking for the senior outside who's had the hot hand off the iron.
Wade makes a great play. What an offensive rebound. Keeps it alive, retains possession, and then they throw it away. Man, that's a lot of energy for nothing. Visual signals right here, end game. This is when you drill. You practice what you're going to do with the score tied with this amount of time, or if you're down 1 or 2 or 3. Both coaches have prepared their teams well, I guarantee you that.
Final minute here of the conference opener. 2 of the heavyweights voted 1 and 2 this year in preseason voting by the coaches to finish in the North Division of the Southern Conference. East Tennessee State picked to win the division. shot up and good from outside. Joseph.
Oh, man, is that good to see for him, huh?
Mr. Automatic here in the second half.
They need to switch screens on him. When he gets open on screens, we showed you 27 against Kansas. He's doing it here, too.
And over the back, Johnson over the 270-pound Gerald Fields. And Fields will shoot a couple.
Well, you've got a situation right here. 3-point lead by East Tennessee on virtue of this screen. Right here, 2 guys screen for him. Tizzo Johnson gets his man. And when he has space, he can make it. At this end, Fields really hustling on the offensive board. Tizzo fouls him. And he's going to get his chance at the free throw line, where he is 64% for the year.
Buccaneer fans are going to be saying, what is it with this Jay Joseph? Last time they played here last February, Joseph had 25 points because his teammate James May didn't play, and he had to take up the slack, although they lost. He had an incredible game here, particularly in the second half of that.
Sometimes it's like that, you know, you get these kind of things where you play well in certain gyms. This is not a good shooting gym, really, for opponents because, as you mentioned, it's a football stadium, and, you know, the people are behind it. It gives you bad depth perception, but it hasn't bothered him so far. Tizzo Johnson out of the game for Franny McCaffrey's team, but I'll tell you what, with a 3-point lead right now, Fields going to the free throw line. What he's talking to his team about is being ready for the press, because it is going to come.
Fran McCaffrey, his 4th year at the helm of University of North Carolina Greensboro. How about that assistant coach, Dick Stewart, there standing to the left there, long-time assistant coach.
He played with me in college, and he was a few years ahead of me. Was a very, very good player.
Guys played at Rutgers, right?
Yes, and he played
A few years back.
He played and was an assistant to Jim Valvano at North Carolina State as well.
Did you guys ever cut your fingers on those peach baskets?
Tell you, Dick's wife is also the head fundraiser at UNC Greensboro.
She was the vice chancellor.
That's right.
And Fields 1 for 2. Second one off the iron. Big rebound inside. They're taken away as Wadood can't come down, and Joseph will be fouled. And Zaki very frustrated.
But right here, terrific isolation right here. He gets inside position. Wadood does a great job, but aggressive plays right here. He goes down. He thought he got fouled. There was really no need to foul in that situation right there. Shot clock could have run. Joseph goes to the free throw line with pressure, but he is a junior, 67% from the stripe.
Shot is up and good. I think Wadood had a legitimate gripe there. There was a couple of guys on his back as he was trying to come down with that rebound.
Well, it's an aggressive game. If Greensboro wins this game, it's going to be by virtue of being perfect from the free throw line.
Jay Joseph, 2 for 2.
Well, 4-point lead right now. Franny McCaffrey's got to try to do something to make them waste time in getting a shot up. East Tennessee, create quickly. This is a 2-possession game right now because they're behind 4 points. So they need to get shots quickly and crash the boards if they miss.
And Bob, you know, we told people at the beginning of this game that Franny McCaffrey and this Spartan team of University of North Carolina Greensboro, without their point guard, Ronnie Taylor, the junior Ronnie Taylor, injured in their previous game on New Year's Eve against High Point. They had to start a freshman point guard, making only his 2nd start ever, and the offense working pretty well here in the second half.
It sure is. Right now, timeout situation, 1 for UNC Greensboro, 2 for East Tennessee, and they're going to need 2 timeouts because on this next possession, if they come down, shoot, and miss, they must foul immediately because the clock is your enemy when you're this far behind.
Possession arrow favors the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State.
The free throw story has been remarkable in this game. UNC Greensboro perfect, and that's why they're winning the game. Penetration by Smith is the key thing.
Smith inside, tosses it in and fouled, whistle the foul.
Wadood positioned himself perfectly on the weak side. Fran says it wasn't a foul, but he doesn't have a striped shirt on. So Wadood's going to go to the free throw line, Doc. He can get it back to 2, and they still have plenty of time and fouls to give.
Oh, off the front of the iron.
Well, that's 2 in a row. Fields also was 1 for 2 on his trip, so they're 1 for 3 in their last tries.
And they cut it to 3 here in the final 28 3/10 seconds.
Now they go for steal. Got a
Well,
foul quickly.
double teamed. And they will get the foul called on Lawson, the senior.
Well, this is interesting because right now Burrell is an inexperienced player, but 9 for 9 from the free throw line in this game. They had to foul him, obviously, because he was the one who caught the basketball.
And Ben Rhoda will come in because that was the 5th foul on Lawson, and he will take a seat. Great basketball game to open the Southern Conference play here.
Oh, I'll tell you, if this is what it's going to be like in the league all year round, there's going to be excitement.
Off the rim, 3
9
points.
for 10.
And the freshman Smith will penetrate, dish off way over the head. He throws it away off Tyrus Wade with 17 seconds on the clock.
Still time. It's a one-possession game, Doc. Still time for things to do. Everybody's in the backcourt. The front court is wide open. May could go long here, and that's a possibility. No one is deep.
And they break deep and they give it to the freshman.
They
Bristow,
should foul him.
and they will. As Rhoda gets the foul and will send the freshman to the line.
Bristow's 71%, Doc, from the free throw line, but just like Burrell before him, he's inexperienced. He's in a foreign court. He's a freshman. This is his first time in this kind of a situation in college. That man praying for a miss. Oh, my goodness. They get the miss and then an offensive rebound by Burrell. That has got to cause you lots of problems. Fran McCaffrey extremely happy about that. Both of his guys have gone down and missed 1-and-1s, Burrell and Bristow, and it hasn't hurt him.
What a great basketball game. What a great way to begin the Southern Conference play here. 2 teams that finished tied along with Davidson for the top spot in the Northern Division. Coming up next, basketball action. We'll have Dave Revson and Doug Gottlieb from out at Tulsa. That's coming up in 13.7 seconds. Ed DeChellis, 2-time Southern Conference Coach of the Year, has his Buccaneers positioned for another run at the conference title. Likewise, Fran McCaffrey. First 21 season last year for the Spartans. He is a Digger Phelps disciple, 11 years with the Irish, with Digger Phelps and John McLeod. And what a job he has done here with Greensboro. Won the Southern Conference tournament 2 years ago. 20 wins a year ago, went to the NIT, eliminated in the first round there against Memphis. Have our Southern Conference action throughout the year, and the tournament championship game coming up on ESPN from Charleston, South Carolina.
Well, I'm not sure what this discussion is about. They went over and talked to the clock operator, so they may be checking whether the clock went off on the missed free throw on the last possession. In any event, Burrell has been very, very good from the free throw line until then.
And they needed it then. Up the court, Wade from outside for 3, nails it.
They got a timeout and called it with 8.3 to go. Still plenty of things can happen.
A 1-point basketball game. Wow. What ice water in Tyrus Wade's veins. The pass, the jump shot from the arc for 3.
Well, the last possession, Tim Smith threw it over his head in that same spot. But the clutch shooting of Tyrus Wade gets them still in a position to win the game. He knocks this in from deep, 2 guys in his face, nothing but the bottom, and they called timeout immediately. A nice pass also. If they'd done it twice, they would have been in better position right now. But a 1-point game with 8.3 to go. What does East Tennessee State do? Number 1, they try to get a 5-second count on the inbounds play. Number 2, when the ball is caught, they try to steal it immediately if they can, but they must foul. Obviously, the guys that they would like to foul are guys who are poor free throw shooters. It's been pretty good lately because Bristow missed and also Burrell missed. So far be it for me to say that we are over.
Ironically,
What can happen still?
North Carolina, Greensboro, perfect from the free throw line for most of this basketball game. 22 of 22, and they've missed a couple here in the final minute.
Over 39 minutes without a miss, and that talks to you about the tension of the moment and conference play as well.
Glad to have you with us here for the final 8.3 seconds. We're headed out to Tulsa with Dave Refson and Doug Gottlieb in just a moment. Big doubleheader coming up tonight at 7 and 9. North Carolina at Miami. Michigan State and Oklahoma on ESPN. Tyrus Wade, 30 points. His career high was 34 earlier this year against Virginia Wise. But that three-pointer moment ago, cool, calm, and collected from the arc to make it a one-point game. Final 8 seconds. Inbound the ball, and they will foul May. They're leading.
Well, Joseph is a guy who's going to go to the free throw line.
And a reminder, coming up, Tulsa on top 4-2. They just tipped off a moment ago in Tulsa. Tulsa on top 4-2. Dave Refson, Doug Gottlieb standing by.
Tulsa in the NCAA tournament last year. They and Hawaii were terrific in the Western Athletic Conference and will be again this year.
30-second timeout by Ed DeShellis to talk it over a little bit here.
Well, this is partially to ice the free throw shooter. That was his last time out, and of course he was to think about it a little bit more. When you're Joseph in this situation, nobody even talks to you. It's like a pitcher with going for a no-hitter. The free throw, obviously, the reason that Greensboro stayed in this game and in position to win the game. Just absolutely fantastic from the line. This is a team that was 3 and 8 coming in, and they don't play like a 3 and 8 team.
No way. They had lost 7 in a row. And here are the timeouts. Possession arrow belongs to the Buccaneers. 1 timeout remaining for the Spartans of Greensboro. A 30-second.
And none for East Tennessee State.
East Tennessee State in the white jerseys. And the goal belongs to the Spartans of University of North Carolina at Greensboro.
The thing about this is not a 1-and-1. This is a 2-shot foul, so that takes some pressure off the shooter.
Jay Joseph with a nice touch.
Experience counts in college basketball, and Jay Joseph is an experienced player, and he's showing it now.
Now, if he makes this, when you find Tyrus Wade, who's the three-point shot, he does not make it. Wade has the rebound and the basketball.
They don't need a 3. This is fine.
Wadood, and we are tied up with 2 seconds to go. And University of North Carolina, Greensboro takes a timeout. The pass by Wade to Zaki Wadood for the bucket, and we are all tied here in Johnson City.
On a missed free throw, right here, 8 seconds, an eternity to go full court. And what they do wisely is they know they don't need a 3. And as a result, penetration and dish. Tyrus Wade to Wadood. Wadood softly off the backboard. Nobody near him. Credit Tyrus Wade with the pass. Terrific play by East Tennessee State.
And no one defends Key, Wadood, and the basket.
Sometimes what you do in situations like that, when you are Greensboro, you would have your man take a free throw, put all 4 of your guys back to prevent a situation like that from developing. We still have 2.2 seconds to go. You can catch, dribble once, and shoot in that amount of time. Fields will guard the inbounder like putting pressure on a quarterback. Joseph is allowed to run the baseline right here. He doesn't have to stand still. He can move and throw it deep.
Gerald Fields, 6'7", 270-pounder, big number 1. They're trying to impede the inbounds pass. Here's Joseph, the bounce pass, and they will dribble and get the shot off. Oh, off the back of the iron. It would have been good if it went, but it did not. And we are headed to overtime here in Johnson City.
Well, they got a shot from half court. Fields defended well enough. And of course, not close.
We will be back with overtime here in the Southern Conference. What a great finish. More coming from Memorial Center in Johnson City in just a moment. Thanks, Matt. We'll be headed out to Tulsa as soon as we get through with overtime, at least sort of like the national championship game last night. We had a couple of overtimes there, an exciting one with the Buckeyes and the Miami Hurricanes. And what a great one we have here to begin the Southern Conference season. Got to ask you, Bob, in overtime, home team?
Yeah, well, I think it favors East Tennessee State because they came from behind and they're really excited about it, and they are at home. Greensboro had the game in hand and blew it by missing free throws. So So that's the situation. Jay Joseph now playing up to his normal 14 points in the second half. With him in there, that's very, very helpful, obviously. Sprained his ankle first half, that's why he didn't score.
May with a jump shot to put the Spartans up by 2.
Talk about a way to start the overtime period. May wide open.
Inside Fields. The basket will count, and he was fouled. We are in Johnson City, Tennessee. They call it the Mini Dome, affectionately, on the campus of East Tennessee State University Memorial Center. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Bob Wenzel. East Tennessee State University Buccaneers in the white, and the University of North Carolina Greensboro Spartans in the gold. And we are in the first overtime. There is Ed DeChellis, head coach, 7th-year head coach for the Buccaneers.
Now, do you have a premonition? You said we're in the first overtime. Do you think there's going to be 2 overtimes? The way this game has gone, we might be here all night. Great effort on the part of both teams.
May on the rebound.
Smith defensively right here on Bristow has 6 assists, but 6 turnovers also.
Joseph, Mr. Second half for the Spartans. They try to get the ball to Smith inside. Burrell. Wide open is Joseph from the corner. A little bit short. May on the rebound, puts it up, and it is blocked. But they will call the foul. Well, he had motion to the ball there, and Tyrus Wade does not agree with that call at all.
You think? Right here, May. First team all conference. Looks like all ball. He's praying.
He might have gotten a little elbow now that you see the replay, but boy, it was a very, very good block with the hand anyway.
Stoic James May at the line. Very good under pressure. Fran McCaffrey trying to get his team a win on the road. First game of the year. That would be big for UNC Greensboro.
And May will nail them both. Put the Spartans up by 2. Free throws, 22 of 22 for 39 minutes of this game. And then the Spartans struggled in the final minute, which allowed the overtime, allowed East Tennessee State to climb back.
Well, absolutely. And Joseph, of course, the story in the second half, really contributing. And Burrell, 17.
Fields for 3.
Oh, my! Fields, the big guy from deep. Shot 42% last year from three-point range, so it's not a surprise to his people.
How about a reply from May on the other end? The big guys nailing the outside shot, and Fields comes up limp. He had missed practice yesterday with a meniscus in his right knee, and the trainers are trying to take care of him. Scotty Brown, the trainer at East Tennessee State, and Fields now goes down. 8-6, Nevada over Tulsa. We're headed out to Tulsa next with Dave Refson and Doug Gottlieb. Glad to have you with us here in overtime.
Right here, Fields knocks one in from deep. Now, he's 6'7", 270. And then at the other end, we find the answer in James May, and he is very experienced. Both guys open, but the problem for East Tennessee, Fields is down. Looks like his knee might be bothering him. And of course, that's crucial, him being out of the game right now. Knuckles, as a freshman, comes in.
There's a look at Gerald Fields. Slight MCL tear, we're told. A meniscus, we were told. He had some problems. He missed practice yesterday. Knee began to swell about a week and a half ago. He said he went over to play Belmont in the Holiday Classic in South Florida and got some swelling in that right knee. Did not practice yesterday. Spent all day getting treatment from trainer Scotty Brown, and now Gerald Fields up on his feet, not putting a whole lot of weight. And boy, would he be a huge loss for this Buccaneer basketball team.
Absolutely, he's critical for them. He's an experienced frontline player. A freshman, Brad Knuckles, replaces him. Knuckles has played a great deal in this game already. Fields just made a 3. May has made a 2 and a 3 in overtime already.
Rhoda, the freshman, in because Lawson has fouled out. Up for the shot, and he will get the foul and shoot a couple.
Say, this guy has guts. I'm impressed with him. I think he's going to have a very fine career here. Rhoda has showed energy in the first half. And in the second half, some stick-to-itiveness.
Nevada up 11-6 over Tulsa. Those of you standing by for that one will be headed up to Tulsa here momentarily. As Rhoda nails the free throw. Was headed to the Air Force Academy. Medically not cleared to go out there in July. Had a scholarship open up here, and he comes to become a Buccaneer for Ed DeChellis and company.
And doing a good job for them, too. Looks like he's going to have a good career. 1 point differential right now.
And
a pass behind his man. James May was not looking for it, just leaving.
coming up next, Nevada and Tulsa. Dave Refson and Doug Gottlieb out in Tulsa. We're in overtime here in Johnson City. Great move inside by Ben Rhoda out of Dayton, Ohio, the Centerville High School graduate. Showing some moxie here as a true freshman.
Averaged 28 a game in high school.
Joseph to the glass. And a great block by Wadoud.
Wadoud comes from the weak side to block it. Not only blocks it, but retains possession. Great play by Wadoud. This is the first time they've had ball and the lead.
It's around to the freshman trying to penetrate. And they will call the foul on Bristow.
No, I think it's on Boyk inside. Wadoud comes from the weak side. Rhoda is beaten by Joseph. Blocks it with his left hand. That's the hand closer to the ball, and then keeps it alive. Beautiful play by Wadoud. And of course, what East Tennessee does well, UNC Greensboro does not. The more athletic team with the block shots.
9 blocks for the Buccaneers today for East Tennessee State.
Ben Rhoda, a freshman, takes the biggest shot of his life on the last possession. He drove hard to the basket and used the glass to soften his shot. Here it is, Rhoda taking it on here, slicing between people, using the glass, and excited.
And that foul was on Boyth, we are told, and that will be his 5th. So Luke Boyth will take a seat. He is a big loss. The experience of the senior in the front court for UNC Greensboro.
Only 1 out of 2 for Knuckles. He is in a difficult situation also, substituting for the injured Fields. Switch, Joseph on Knuckles, perimeter, advantage Joseph.
And almost throws it away as Tyrus Wade nearly has the steal.
Tyrus Wade has 30 in this game. He's gotten them all over the place. He made a 3 late to get them into overtime, then drove and dished to force the overtime.
43 turnovers, very aggressive basketball game. Great pass inside.
Burrell, a career game.
All knotted up here in the very first overtime. A little couple of freshmen there trying to work out their signals here. As Ben Rhoda takes over from Tim Smith, the 5'9", into Wadoud. And he will get hammered inside by Ronnie Burrell.
Wadoud has a very, very quick first step. Burrell, even though he's having a career game, not used to playing people on the perimeter like this. He got fouled by both guys. Does he get 4 free throws? I don't think so. DeChellis cleared aside for Wadoud. And obviously, we want Wadoud and Tyrus Wade taking the shots down the stretch, if at all possible, although Rhoda came up big on the last possession. Not a lot of defense lately by either team.
In and out, and the follow by Wade. Off balance, falling down off the glass. What an effort by Tyrus Wade, the sophomore from Tampa, Florida. 3-point lead for the Buccaneers. Final minute and 36 of the first overtime here in Johnson City. Block from behind, another block by East Tennessee State.
That's 11.
And great penetration.
What action, I'm telling you. And Bristow makes a big, big shot.
A lot of freshmen coming up strong here for both these ball clubs in their opening conference
They
game.
want a clear side right here. He's going to go left. Burrell should try to push him to the center of the floor.
Wadoud on Burrell.
Shot clock at 10.
From outside, off the mark. Rebound for the freshman. Great effort by the true freshman Brad Knuckles. East Tennessee State by 3.
Well, the home team with the advantage right here. They got to defend one time to try to win the game. Ray McCaffrey got to get the chalkboard out.
3-point margin, less than 42 seconds to play here in overtime. That game's coming up next, but a great one here going on. Lots of action. How about Tyrus Wade off the missed free throw a moment ago? Watch the rebound and the putback by Wade.
He hits this fading away, got pushed, wasn't called, made it anyway. And then Knuckles on the inside in perfect position, uses his size advantage. The freshman coming away with a big, big game.
Game track notes there. Take a look at the blocks by East Tennessee State. Final 40 seconds here. 3-point margin by the Buccaneers.
Greensboro looks like they're trying to set up a 3 for Joseph. They switched. Effective switch. He's got it.
Outside, has the uncontested shot and sinks it.
Oh my, oh my.
Tied up again in the very first overtime here today.
They ran the same play twice. They ran it first, didn't get it, ran it again. This time Joseph made the play.
Off the screen, the uncontested shot.
Smith can make a play by himself here with penetration, but they want to go to experience, so they're clearing aside for Wadu. Last time they did this, he jacked a 3. It wasn't a good shot. He should take it. He's late.
Wadu against Josh Gross. Out to Wade on the outside. Wade, the jump shot. And the tip by the freshman.
It's good.
It's good. At the buzzer, the true freshman Brad Knuckles tips it in.
Well, this is a situation now where they're going to look at it. This is required by rule this year. They're going to look to make sure that this was a good goal.
Southern Conference officials, there's Gary Maxwell, Antonio Petty, and Jerry Hill. Watch tip here a moment ago.
Watch the red on the top of the backboard, because that's what the officials have to determine, whether the red goes off before he gets it out of his hand. Clearly,
it was
a basket.
The basket should count. It was out of his hands against the glass when the clock expired and the light came on. As they watch the tip, Maxwell, Petty, and Hill, the 3 Southern Conference officials.
Well, we take a look at it again. Wade shoots this, and he is really well challenged. Watch the position inside of Knuckles. Nobody blocks him out. He is there, hits it. It's bottom.
They have seen the replays. He says, count the basket. This one is history. What a day. Overtime for the Southern Conference opener. East Tennessee State wins it 96-94. Now let's head out to Tulsa, Oklahoma for Nevada and Tulsa. Here's Dave Refson and Doug Gottlieb in Tulsa.